Hey guys, hope you all have been well. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be focusing on how to maximize your makeup collection, and more specifically doing so when you are on a no-buy. So in my notebook, my YouTube notebook where I list all of my makeup ideas, I've made a list of a couple things that I feel we can do with our makeup collection to ensure that we're not just holding on to things for the sake of holding on to them. I know that when we buy makeup, yes, they may be pretty, but we also want to make sure that we're using them so that our money is not just for decorative purposes. So with that said, let's get straight into the list of how to maximize your makeup collection. Tip number one is to use multiple eyeshadow palettes in order to create a look. I know that the idea of a cohesive palette is valid, definitely is. But if you want to make sure that maybe it's not just this one palette you're always using, you can say, okay, I'm going to use these two shades from this palette and I'm going to pull this one here just so that everything is kind of being dabbled into. I think the case where we buy new eyeshadow palettes and that becomes our newest obsession, and then something comes along and then we stuff it into our drawer full of, palettes. I think by using multiple ones, you're allowing yourself to not just focus on what you currently have, but what you already have there, and using the combination of the both of them in order to create a good look. A very similar idea has to do with lipsticks or lip products in general, and that's to mix products. I'm a very firm believer in mixing your lip products. You can be so creative with the amount of lip products that you have. Just a slight tinge of a separate color can really really up the amp on a certain look that you're trying to achieve. So maybe you may not have that perfect red lipstick. Maybe you want a tinge of pink. Mix it in. There's no need to go out there and buy something when there's a very good chance that you can replicate the color that you're trying to go for within your own collection. So mix your lip liners, mix your lipsticks, mix your lip glosses, mix your liquid lipsticks. I think I have a few videos where I actually show my favorite combinations. So if I remember to, I will link it down below, but that's not necessarily me saying like check out my video. It's check out your collection and see what you can do with what you have. Oh, it is hot up in here, guys. You don't understand just how hot it is on this island right now. It is ridiculous. Tip number 3 would be to try and dupe new eyeshadow palettes or new palettes in general, new lip products. I believe I did a duping video on the Sultry palette, and it's something that I will continue to do. I think it's fun trying to go into my collection and see if I can dupe something. There's something very creative about it, and that way I'm really looking at my makeup inventory and seeing oh, maybe I don't need this lipstick. You know what I mean? So if you see a new makeup product, I recommend that you actually go into your collection, mix a few things, pull out certain colors, and see if you can dupe it, because I'm certain if you have a pretty good substantial collection, I'm almost certain you can dupe stuff. So dupe new products. It's very fun, and I think it's very effective to refrain you from having the urge to always buy whatever is coming out. Tip number 4 is to declutter multiples. I'm very guilty of this, guys. I've had to slowly learn how to do this, but if there's a specific color that you like, whether it be lipstick or blush or highlighters, if you have 1 or 2, I'm pretty sure you can do away with 3 to 7. It's easier said than done. But if you can get rid of multiple items that you're just having because you like a certain color, try and slowly let them go piece by piece, because ultimately what's going to happen is that it is just for decorative purposes. And maybe your highlighter collection for you needs to be 7 or it needs to be 5, but I don't think anything beyond that scope. If you are planning on buying other types of products, will eventually just be gathering dust, and it's just going to be there without being used. But definitely trying to condense the number of similar colored items that you have. The next tip is already a theme, a reoccurring type of video that people do on YouTube, and that is to shop your stash. And by shopping your stash, you're basically doing a rotation of items. You're going to pull and pick items that you know you're going to use. This is your weekly makeup allowance. This is your every 3 days makeup allowance, your month allowance, whatever it is, this is what you're going to use. Choose to pan items. It's the same thing, picking and choosing. I'm going to use it to its utmost capacity, and then after that you can go, this really does work for me, or maybe this might be better off for someone else to enjoy. So shopping your stash is kind of a great way to purposefully pick out items and then determine whether it's gonna stay in the collection or gonna be decluttered. Another tip, which kind of goes into shop my stash, but it's a little less planned out, is to do the roulette idea, where you go randomize. I'm going to use this color in this eyeshadow palette. I'm going to go through my lipstick collection, randomly pick out a lipstick, and this is what I'm going to base my look out of. I think that's a little bit more creative. There's a little bit more of a suspense aspect to it, and that's the creative juices going. It's something that I tend to like to do every now and again. It might be an eyeshadow, it might be a blush, it might be a highlighter. Whatever the makeup item is, it allows you to look at one product in this collection. Maybe it's something that you don't normally use, and then build around that. So if you're up for it, if you're up for the challenge, it's not always the easiest thing to do, but there definitely is a sense of creativity and a bit of a spark of inspiration to make it work. In addition to that, there's the untouched challenge. I'm just gonna call it that. But we, in our collection, mostly with eyeshadows, sometimes with lip products or blushes, there are items that we just don't touch. It was never swatched, it was never even thought of, particularly with eyeshadow palettes. We all have to admit it, there's a couple of those products in our collection that just has never seen your face. So it would be a cool challenge to make yourself use those things and then build around it. Again, it's the same idea of the roulette, but it's a step up, where you're going to purposely use something that you've never used before. And I guess we're going to really focus on the eyeshadow palettes with this, because I think that forces you to either realize that maybe this could have been something that I've used in previous makeup looks, or kind of gives you an overall picture of the worth of your eyeshadow palette. You know, maybe you have this one eyeshadow that you really like. Is the whole palette worth it after you used every single one? It might be something worth trying. I know some of us just keep palettes because we like certain colors, but to look at the overall picture and the worth of it, I think it might be a cool concept to do. My last tip to help maximize your makeup collection is to try and do transformation or inspired makeup looks. Maybe you're going to follow a tutorial, maybe you're going to replicate a celebrity makeup look. This way, the colors, the concept, the application, all of the techniques and the products, it's not really up to you. You see the makeup look, and you're going to use everything in your makeup inventory to try and use that. And you're probably going to end up using colors that you've never used before because it was someone else's choice, if that makes sense. And I believe I've done one celebrity inspired makeup look. It was a Jessica Alba look, and I absolutely loved the way it turned out, because I had someone else guiding me. It wasn't me trying to pick and choose colors like, okay, I have this vision in my head, how am I going to pull it together? If there's a photo out there already of a makeup look or tutorial of a makeup look that you're envisioning and you see it and you can be like, okay, That's the color she has here. This is very similar to the lip color that she's using. Maybe I should mix these things in. This tip I feel like encompasses a lot of the previous ones that I've mentioned, because you're using color, you're dabbling into your collection and not knowing really what you're gonna pull out because you're trying to replicate something else. So definitely give it a go. I had so much fun doing that Jessica Alba look, and again, I absolutely loved the way it turned out. So guys, I hope this video was helpful for you in any which way. My intention in making this video was definitely to help those of us out there, whether it's a no buy, low buy, or just not really feeling satisfied with our collection, how to use it. And by doing so, we either appreciate what we have even more, or we get rid of things that are just collecting dust, that are just there to be there. And as a person that does still buy makeup, my intention will always be, you know, from forward on, is I'm going to try this makeup, but it's not just here for long-term purposes. I want to use what I have, and I would like to try and find creative ways to utilize everything so I understand, or I feel its worth. So with that said, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you guys did and have not done so already, go ahead and click the red subscribe button down below. I would really appreciate it. This makeup look can be found on Instagram. First link in the description box down below, along with all the other makeup looks that I have on my channel. Thank you guys so much for joining me, and until the next video, I hope you all are doing well, taking great care of yourselves. I will see you all next time. Bye guys. You ever like get hair tickle the side of your eye, but you have makeup on so you can't rub it? Struggle. Anyone guess? What are you honking at? Jesus.